Alright, what's up, and what is going on? It's Squirrel World. This is going to be a tier list for Digimon Survive. I'm only going to focus on the megas with some exceptions, but not that many. Actually, let's start with one of those exceptions. Edmon. Since it's the only high-level virus that is a defender, it's going to be placed somewhere on this tier list. I think I want to put it here. Yeah, here. It's good there. Reasoning is that Etamon is basically the only one in its slot, the only defensive virus at all until you get the Sovereign virus. And it's actually quite good at it, even though it's a perfect level Digimon, especially if you buff it with the 1500 HP worth of mushrooms. It's just straight up tank. Now, without further ado, let's get to the actual megas. All right, Metal Garurumon. And when you see me just use the Digimon itself, understand that it's probably going to be the partner level of that Digimon. I'm not really going to go for the non-partner levels, except when I say so. So Metal Garurumon, it's okay. It's pretty much the only offensive water mega besides Omnimon. It's between B and C. Only having 4 mobility kind of lets it down. I think that's a clear flaw. Yeah, even with high speed strikes, it's just that 4 mobility kind of really lets it down. I can't ignore that. Spinalmon, I'm about to say Dookie on him. Yeah, Spinalmon's Dookie. Puppetmon's better at being a ground attacker. His special attack, the Sonic Slice Rain or whatever it's called, Spinalmon's special attack raises attack by 2 stages, which is great if you're planning on running out of MP, but you're usually not. It's just a very confusing Digimon based on what it wants to do. It's not a defender, but it gets defensive ability. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's nothing good about Spinalmon. Except for if you want to, if you really want to break data tanks, especially the water types, yeah, it has a good attack for that, but you're better off using Puppetmon with Awesome Quake for that. Alright, War Greymon is clearly almost OP. Even without the Takamu version, it's super strong. And with Takamu's buff, it's just out of here. So yeah, just straight to the top there. They made it as strong as you would expect them to. Metal Seadramon's also up there. It's the strongest tank in the game without question. Veradurumon. Alright, so Veradurumon, I'm going to count it as it's... So here's the problem. I'm going to have to split Veradurumon because we're going to have the Minoru version, which is going to be almost OP, but that's literally purely because of Minoru himself. And then you're going to have the actual Digimon, which is clear flaws because it has a really weird weakness to ground. It's got tissue paper defenses. Its mobility is nice, but its actual attack isn't that good. Aurora Undulation doesn't really do much besides debuff enemies, which is great. But yeah, no, Veradurumon's kind of just not that good. And since we're talking about Minoru, let's go ahead and get him. I think he's going to be at the end here. Yeah. Minoru, just for his talk ability, is going to be sovereign level. Honestly, he's up there. It's the best talk ability in the game besides Takuma's, maybe. And I would almost put, I think even though Takuma boosts all the core stats, Minoru's is still better just for that extra forward movement. It lets you do so many things that you'd be unable to do otherwise. Yeah, I think we put Minoru at the top here. All right, running backwards. We have actual sovereigns. All the sovereigns are going to be great. It's just a question of how good are they compared to other things. I think Zukalmon's probably, no, he's not the worst sovereign. Well, shoot, he might be the worst sovereign. Yeah, he's the worst sovereign. Baihumon goes above him. And that's because Baihumon actually has that earth ability to break walls better than Zukalmon. So in theory, they both should be able to do it because Zukalmon is a virus and Baihumon is earth. But unless Zukalmon is running a earth technique, he's going to get dominated by Metal Seedramon and Plesiomon. I've experienced it myself during a Mugen Recollection. I think it was number 18. So, or no, it was number 17. So yeah, he's not useful during that fight. Actually, it was 19 probably. Mugen Recollection 19. Uzulamon is really, 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 really good. Yeah, Uzulamon is really, really, really good. Okay, so he has a really crappy typing just like Zukalmon, but in exchange for a good typing, he has instead a very good attack, which is Sorai. Sorai does a ton of damage, and on top of that, it has a high chance of paralysis, and it's pretty reliable at taking something nasty out of the game. So, yeah, Uzulamon's up there. Ebenwumon. As much as I want to put it up there with Uzulamon, it's going to have to come behind Uzulamon for sure. Reason is because Ebenwumon's mobility is really bad. It's only got 3 mobility. That's the same problem with Baihumon, by the way. It only gets 3 mobility, but you're normally going to be swapping from Anubismon, who has 5 mobility, into Baihumon, and that will let you get extra mobility, whereas Ceresmon Medium only has 4 mobility. It's not as good. And then on top of that, Ebenwumon's Mugen attack is placed around its body, so it's not as like effective at directional damage, but it's still a very good attack. It confuses everything around you, and it's a tank. It's a vaccine tank, which is really nice against those viruses that you tend to run into. So yeah, there's not that much wrong with it. It's just a case of its mobility lets it down. Fanglongmon's obviously the most powerful Digimon in the game. Do I put him above Minoru's talk ability? Yeah, sure. But he'll be the only Digimon with that distinction. Seraphimon. I feel like he's a big hitter. So here's the thing. Seraphimon and Veradurumon are actually extremely similar. They're actually very similar. Except Seraphimon has better elemental resistances. And his ability is to increase the damage of his light attacks. Yeah. Seraphimon can go at big hitter level. I'd actually put, I'm thinking about it, I'll change the order of these two, yeah. Alright. Hercules Kabuterimon. So wind, vaccine. Yeah, it doesn't really have any natural targets. It has a great ability. Eh, I wouldn't say it has clear flaws. It does what it's supposed to do, but it's not like you don't really need to use it. I'd almost say it goes down here in clear flaws. But it's like either at the top clear flaws or at the bottom of big hitters. I'll put it at the bottom of big hitters. How do you keep moving? Stop moving. Alright. Phoenixmon. It's basically a better Serafimon. Honestly, it's probably your most reliable Digimon mobility type before you get some of the later game stuff. It's like some of the really in-game stuff. So yeah. It can go there. It's not as OP as Wargreymon by a long shot, but it can go there. Its AoE is nice with Starburst Explosion as well, which is something that neither Veradurumon or Serafimon get, which sets it apart from the other mobility type light guys. But it does get trumped later on by Cherubimon, who is a way better version of it. Okay, Rosemon, clear flaws. But it's going to be... Where do you want to put it? I'm not sure whether it goes above or after you. I think I'll put it after you. Alright, so Rosemon's problem is multiple. Number one, it has an issue with attacking. So its attacks only go in a straight line, and anytime you have a Digimon like that and their range is like only 4 movement, it's going to cause them problems. Its ability increases its affinity with wind and earth, but it gets no natural wind attacks, so one of its slots is going to be used up by wind. Okay, but so what it ends up with is a wind attack that has a fairly short range, a range of 3, that's centered on itself, and a earth attack that has a range of 4 leading out from itself, and a mobility of 4. And you too often find yourself unable to hit an enemy because both your ranges are just 1 block short, and it happens frustratingly often with Rosemon, too often to be honest. So it turns into a point where Rosemon is mimetically, okay, I guess I have to wait an extra turn in order to attack with this. To the point where I started running acceleration charge on Rosemon just to make sure that I could actually hit things in a timely manner with her. And it helps, but then again, now you've used up 2 of your item slots just to fix Rosemon's inherent flaws. It's a good Digimon once you get past all that, but you have to get past all that. And I don't think that gets it out of the C tier here, because it clearly has flaws. Plesioman. Alright, so with the DPC, Plesioman is really, really good. I'm put at the top of clear flaws. This is what I don't like, that Sorrow Blue. I think Sorrow Blue has a moderate chance to confuse, if I'm not mistaken, or is it a low chance? If it's a low chance, then it's definitely C tier. Let me see, Plesio. I'm bringing it up on Grindazor real quick. Moderate chance of confusion, ignores target stat boost. Okay. Maybe it's not. It never really seems to proc though. Just to be my experience, it rarely ever seems to actually proc. So even if the writing says it's moderate, the fact that I think it's low means that it's happened so sporadically, so unreliably that I can't recommend this Digimon as a like tank attacker type. And that's kind of important when you're using it mostly to take care of, let's say these guys up here, your Phoenixmon, your War Greymon, right? Those are your data vaccines that you would theoretically be hunting down with this, and it doesn't really do the job. With the DPC, it becomes really good because it has that natural white veil on it already that protects it from status, on top of the DPC's own status, the Divine Protection Crystal's own status protection. It gets really good at tanking things. But all tanks get really good at tanking things with DPC, right? It's just that it's slightly better because it has white veil. And can confuse. I think I'd put it at the bottom. The other thing is that its biggest flaw is that Metal Seedramon exists, and Metal Seedramon is clearly a better tank in every way conceivable besides resisting status. Which you don't really need your tank to resist status. You don't. Like, who cares if your tank is confused? It's probably not going to do that much damage to you, and the enemy's going to hit it again. Same thing with sleep. I could put it at the bottom of big hitters, based on it having a moderate chance of fuse, but it really does have some clear flaws. The lack of mobility hurts it too. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll put it back at the top of clear flaws because that lack of mobility hurts it too. That's why I was running an acceleration charge on it for the longest. And now I can't run acceleration charge because I'm running DPC. So yeah. Vaccine tank. The actual vaccine tank. Besides the Sovereign version. She's actually like fairly good. She's a good healer, she's a good tank. Her attack does good damage. Yeah, I'll put her at the bottom of almost OP. Piedmon. He's just a good all-around Digimon. He's almost OP. Trump Sword is just really good. I put it behind put it behind War Greymon. Trump Sword is really good. It's orientation correction. It's really good. Although you can still get blocked if your opponent is blocking and you're attacking from the front. But the orientation correction is nice. That extra 50% damage on every single attack is great. Both Baudemon, Aradipoyo is really good. Its attacks are really good. Now, here's the thing. There's zero difference between Bolt Baudemon being run on Kaito and Bolt Baudemon being run normally, because Kaito's talk effect has zero impact on Bolt Baudemon. And that could be a clear flaw, but Bolt Baudemon itself is so powerful that it just is almost OP. Now, missing Kaito's ability kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. And we're gonna have to talk about that when we get to Beelzemon, because I'm not gonna spoil that part. Bolt Baudemon is a really strong Digimon. Really strong. Yeah, right there. Right there makes sense. Dino-Rexmon. Weird Digimon. Its ability, I forgot what its actual ability was. Let me see. I forgot what its passive. So its skill basically allows it to self-buff its own primary attack, which is the fire attack. And the fire attack has a good AoE on it. Decent amount of power coming off of it. And unlike Terra Force with War Greymon, it doesn't step on Takuma's own ability, which is really, really nice. Because both Terra Force and Supreme Blade, or not Supreme Blade, Celestial Blade, if you're running that on Omegamon, both of those abilities boost your offenses instead of your firepower or your elemental power. So if you're using them after Takuma's already buffed Agumon, there's no point. Yeah, I think that's about where he goes. He's got a good attack, 230. He's got a good skill. What's his actual ability do? Raises physical attack and speed a rank. And then low chance of putting a target to sleep when attacking. That's all good stuff. That's all good stuff. Yeah, I don't see any issues with it. It's just a really strong Digimon. Probably its biggest problem is there aren't that many vaccines that are weak to fire, and it's a data type. And its issue is that the Digimon that it wants to fight at endgame are going to be viruses, but you have a chromatic crystal by the time you get Dynarexmon, so it's not that big of a deal. Alright, Machine Dramon. I hate Machine Dramon because it's like the end of like 4 different lines, including Takuma's virus line. But it's a good Digimon. It's a really good Digimon. It's a really, really good Digimon, actually. Moving cannon is strong. Its ability is strong. It gives it back MP and increases attack every time it gets killed. It's just boring because there's so many different paths to get to Machine Dramon, and it's such an old and overused Digimon. You've seen it a billion times. And it's not like, oh, it's War Greymon. Of course, I wanted War Greymon. It's the main character. It's like, oh, Machine Dramon. Okay, that's cool, I guess. Yeah. I don't like having Machine Dramon, but it is strong, if only because they had to make it strong. Is it stronger than Piedmon? No, I don't think it's stronger than Piedmon. Is it stronger than both Baldemon? Nah, I don't think it's stronger than both Baldemon either, honestly. It might be a tie between these two. If anything, having Takuma's ability is going to push Machine Dramon over the edge every time. Because hopefully that's the only version of Machine Dramon you have. Although there's like 3 other ways you could accidentally end up with one. Plutomon. Alright, so in this case we have 2 variants of Plutomon. We have the Aoi version, which can heal, and we have the regular version, which can't. In either case, they're going to be almost OP. I'm going to go with the Aoi version, and the Aoi version is going to be borderline sovereign. Matter of fact, if we're really talking about the Aoi version, then it can digivolve into a sovereign when it needs to. And that by itself, on top of King of Hell, just makes it so much scarier. Maybe I just need to talk about... Yeah. I think I need to put it in the Sovereign class. It needs to be in Sovereign class. It's that strong. Its ability debuffs an enemy's defense. Its skill, rather. But its ability, King of Hell, basically increases all of its stats by a stage every time it gets a kill, as long as it's not like a chest. But the phasma charges and the phasma mends count. It's really, really good. I can't overstate that. It's really, really strong. You start it off on the side with the Digimon that's slightly faster than it, and you just start taking out the weaklings with Plutomon, and then you just move your way around to the really strong thing, and eventually the really strong thing isn't even going to be able to touch you because you've got like plus 100% stats. It's stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. Plutomon's really, really strong. Okay, Beelzemon. Here's another one where we're going to have... Okay, so I'm going to do this like this. Beelzemon really and truly is Dookie. It really and truly is Dookie. That's without Kaido. If Kaido wasn't involved, Beelzemon is absolute duty water. With Kaido involved, go find him. With Kaido involved, he's more of a clear flaws Digimon. He can air on big hitter if you use him correctly, which is put him right next to an opponent. He could be there. You just have to fix him up correctly. Baron Hanna is unreliable-ish, but it can break guard. You kind of need the DLC to make it really, really go well. I would say, yeah. Put it at top of clear flaws. Here's why. So, without Kaido, Beelzemon is just a kind of weird, short-ranged Digimon. It only moves 3 steps. It has a higher attack than special attack, but its special skill is a special attack. So, go make that make sense. I don't even think its special skill actually gets a secondary effect. It's just deal damage, right? Double impact deals dark damage at 300. It's not strong. 300 is the standard rate for a mega. It doesn't do anything for you. Both its attack and its special attack, double impact, do nothing for you. Yeah, that's why Beelzemon is down here in duty water. Now, with Kaito's ability to boost its attack by 50% for 4 turns or 3 turns, I forgot exactly which it is, it can deal out pretty substantial amounts of attack from its regular attack and from Celestial Claw or something like that. Whatever the light attack is, the light physical attack is. But you need DLC because the DLC version does 50% more damage. So you get that version of it, and then you have a much stronger attack. Or you could end up using Hell Crush if you want to, but either way, you need to end up using Acceleration Charge Plus to make sure that you're in striking range of these physical attacks. And it helps you out even better if you are standing literally right next to the Digimon that you are attacking, because Kaito has maxed out team up attack rate. So if you're able to capitalize on that, you can put Beelzemon right next to a Digimon and buff him up with maximum attack, and then use other Digimon to get him to repeatedly attack that Digimon over and over again, and that could be really cool. But it's all you need to set him up perfectly for it. It's just like Rosemon, you need to set him up perfectly. And number 2, he needs his tamer to even do that. Unlike Rosemon, he needs his tamer to even do that. And both his slots. He needs his tamer and both slots to do that. So, I would say it's not very good overall. There's way too much effort put into making Beelzemon good for him to be mediocre. All right. You might be a sovereign, honestly. You might be sovereign class, my guy. Hold up. Oh, crap. I'm moving stuff around and I'm forgetting where stuff is. Yeah. Jewel Beamon is up there. He's up there. I'll explain why in a second. He's up there. Not Jewel Beamon, excuse me. Bancho Stingmon. Best tank in the game, though. Can't be above you. Is he above War Greymon is the question. War Greymon is really, really strong. I don't think he's above War Greymon. Is he above Dynarexmon? Yeah, I think he's got Dynarexmon. I think he's got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, Bancho Stingmon. He has probably the most broken special attack in the game. It has a high probability, and it's really high. It's actually, if you play with it, it's pretty dang high. High probability of paralyzing and poisoning an enemy. So, a lot of your most troublesome enemies are going to be the ones that can either kill you or you can't kill because they're too tanky. And Bancho Stingmon kind of just takes care of both those things for you. Paralysis stops things from killing you. Poison kills things that are very tanky. So, yeah, it's just a really stupidly good Digimon, to say the least. And on top of that, Plesiomon is weak to wind, so it's got a natural upper hand against Plesiomon, which is one of the two water tanks that you normally worry about. Of course, there's still this guy, but this guy's this guy for a reason. He's the best tank in the game for a reason, so you just have to deal with him. How Lex said, grown man bars is just something you got to deal with. Yeah, Metal Seedramon is just something you got to deal with. But Bancho Stingmon definitely makes that easier to do. Alright. The other Digimon that you can only get in truthful mode, Cherubimon, is actually going to be really high up as well. Is it better than Bancho Stingmon? So, Heaven's Judgment, I just said Bancho Stingmon gets the most busted attack in the game, but Heaven's Judgment might be as busted as it, if not more. I would say Cherubimon can move more. That's its real upper hand, is that number one, holy damage is just really, really good. It has a high attack, which allows it to use Holy's opposite, which is dark, the Hell Crusher, really well. And then both of its attacks, if you use Hell Crusher, which would be Heaven's Judgment and Hell Crusher, both those things have a good chance of confusing. And when you confuse the enemy, you basically get an extra teammate. If you play it right, you can really turn a battle that you're supposed to lose around. But that's the same thing for Bancho Stingmon. Bancho Stingmon can turn battles that you're supposed to lose around as well. So I think Cherubimon goes there. Yeah, Cherubimon goes there. I think I have way too many A classes. I think I'm gonna move some of these down to big hitters. Yeah, let's move some of these down. Like, Phoenixmon isn't almost OP. You're not really almost OP either. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's much better. Because almost OP should be like things that are just like so strong that, yeah, they kind of warp the game around themselves. And Phoenixmon and Magnadramon definitely aren't warping the game around themselves. But Baldemon, questionable, but I don't think so. Everything Takuma uses will warp the game around itself just because of his buff. And then yeah, the rest of these things kind of warp the game around themselves because of ridiculousness. Like Paidemon's ridiculous damage output is going to warp the game around itself. Alright, speaking of warping the game around yourself and having a ridiculously overpowered attack, Ceresmon Medium is up there as well. I think it probably needs to go right about here-ish. And keeping in mind, Ceresmon Medium is a tamer Digimon. Her tamer has a special defense buff, which is the most useful buff that isn't all stats, mobility, or special attack, right? All stats, mobility, special attack. Yeah, those are the big three. Oh, and healing. So she's got the fourth best buff. And I think she uses it well enough. She heals 50% of damage that she causes. On top of that, she's immune to status abnormalities and stat reductions too, I think. But yeah, she's just got a really good kit. A really, really good kit. And when she heals 10% or is it 30%? I think it's 10% of the of your max SP is restored for all the Digimon that got healed, including herself. So yeah, she's just a supreme support Digimon. Really good attacker. She has a high chance of poisoning. Her range, so she's just better than Rosemon in every way because her range is ridiculous. Like she moves forward and then her Carpo's Huli attack is like a range of 6, but it's in a square instead of a line, so it's like even stupidly. I think it's got the best range in the game, like actual. Besides in-game bosses, it's got the best game range in the game. It doesn't have an AoE, but if it had an AoE, it'd be freaking broken beyond hell. Marine Angemon. I think Marine Angemon goes at the bottom of big hitters. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem is there's nothing wrong with Marine Angemon. Yeah, that's really it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just boring. It doesn't really do anything. Its slot is already filled. It has a weakness to ground that it... Yeah, why does it need a weakness to ground? Well, I guess it's a water type, but it also has a weakness to dark because it's holy. It uses a holy attack, but you already have holy attackers. It can be okay, but yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's not what you want to be using. It's a good tank for a vaccine if you need one. Even though it says it's a specialist that has really good defenses, you just need to increase its HP a bit. Its primary attack, Ocean Love, has a high chance of decreasing the enemy offenses when that matters. Of course, with the latest game, the later you get in the game, the less likely it is that your enemies are going to be affected by that. So just be aware of that. Yeah. It can be okay. Maybe it goes at top clear flaws. But I don't really see it. It doesn't really have clear flaws. It's just not like super good. Oh, a newbie bond. Where do you go? You're not almost OP. You're somewhere over here. I think this is another case of it's just not that impressive. Yeah. Like, Its ability Amulet, its secondary skill, basically gives it the ability to kill Edamon because almost every other virus is resistant to dark. So yeah, it almost never actually goes positive on that attack. Even though it says it deals extra damage to viruses. But it has mobility of 5. If you give it a stellar alacrity crystal, it becomes very hard for enemies to hit. And its range is very good. So yeah. It's actually I'm underselling it a bit. It's better than Seraphimon for sure. Because Seraphimon is well, it also gets a buff to its dark attacks and its light attacks. A new Bimon does, whereas Seraphimon gets light. And yeah, I think that'll call it for about that. Honestly, it's probably a better version of Phoenixmon if we're going to say use that line of thinking. So yeah. Okay, the best non-partner Digimon in the game. Do we put it under Sovereign? Is the real question. It's not that stupidly strong though. It's not that stupidly strong. Yeah, it goes here. Very, very top of almost OP. I almost feel a way not putting it above Plutomon though, because you need it more than you need Plutomon, and Plutomon can fail to do things, especially in Mugen Recollection. Plutomon's not as clutch in Mugen Recollections. That's for sure. That's for sure. Like, where does Plutomon actually go? If Plutomon doesn't get its kill streak off, it becomes very, very pedestrian. It's more of a big hitter if it doesn't get its kill streak off. If it gets its kill streak off, it can be very, very powerful. On average, I would say it gets you. It probably gets you about here. Yeah. I'll say Plumon probably gets you about there on average. There's going to be fights when it's like, you know, Dream Team Michael Jordan. There's going to be fights when it's Brian Scalabrine, and you just don't know what it's going to be. If you're only going up against one enemy, guess what? Plutomon is not that strong. It's basically the same as this guy here. And actually, it might be worse because this guy here buffs his own attack. But this guy decreases enemy attacks or enemy defense. And the problem is, towards the end of the game, especially in truthful mode, almost all the enemies are going to be immune to having their defenses lowered or having any stats lowered by that matter. So being able to affect yourself is, oopsie. How do I not do that? There we go. Being able to affect yourself is more powerful than affecting the enemy. Okay, Saber Leomon got hoed in this game. Is it worse than Beelzemon is the question. Is it worse than Beelzemon? Let's think. I don't like Sonic Fang. I don't like anything about... I really don't like anything about Saber Leomon. But its special attack does at least debuff the enemy. So I'll give it that much. It has a secondary effect on a special attack, which actually isn't a special attack, it's a physical attack. But just like Beelzemon, it has an unreliable ability this time, if you attack, well, the ability itself can be a detriment because if it doesn't go off, then you just wasted a turn not using your strongest possible attack. Because what happens with Sonic things, and I think that's what it's called. So, Sonic Charge. So, moderate chance of unleashing 2 attacks instead of 1. So, yes, it goes off sometimes, but it's not often enough to be reliable. So, you go up to an enemy, you hit the attack button, and you get to deal 240 damage or 480 damage. You don't know. Or you can use Howling Crusher, which has 325 damage. It costs you 65 SP, but 65 SP isn't that bad. And it has a moderate chance of reducing their physical defense and special defense 2 ranks. Okay, so if you go up to an enemy and attack them and Sonic Charge does not proc, you are probably better off using Howling Crusher because you would have done more damage. And on top of that, you would have had a good chance of getting their special defense or their physical defense, which is probably more relevant to Saber Leomon to drop. So it's one of those, it's an ability that can trap you or trick you into an ungood situation, a bad situation. That's my problem with Saber Leomon. And on top of that, Saber Leomon has 3 mobility. And like I said, well, first of all, why does Saber Leomon have 3 mobility? It's one of the fastest megas. It actually is one of the fastest megas naturally, but it only has 3 mobility. That thing should have freaking 5. Or at least 4. 4 would have been acceptable-ish. It would have had the same problem as Rosemon, but at least it would have had the same problem as Rosemon and not a whole different problem. So it almost, well, let's not say almost, it absolutely must use Acceleration Charge Plus because it's a physical attacker and its Sonic Charge ability can't even go off unless it gets next to an enemy. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's just too much bad about this Digimon. Grand Koala'mon. Clear flaws. Again, 3 mobility, but not Dookie Water bad because you can use you can just add a special ability like Meteor Fall or something like that, or you use Acceleration Charge Plus. There are ways to get around having bad mobility with this particular Digimon. The reason you want to stay in one place is because you get to attack twice. And the second attack does 12.5% extra damage. It doesn't require as much investment as Kaido does. I actually would use it over Marine Angemon. Would I use it over Hercules Kabuterimon is the real question. Because it's free, I think I would. Because I'm not trying to tank with Hercules Kabuterimon and it doesn't have any natural prey. Would I use it over Seraphimon? I think that's where that ends, yeah. Yeah, it can go right here and big hit us. It's good, but not great. Yeah, it needs an item, but it doesn't need 2 items. And it's got a pretty decent ability. It's slow, unfortunately, because of its 3 mobility, but meh. Oh, Puppetmon, you're going somewhere. You're not almost OP. I'm not going to do that. But you are necessary. You're absolutely necessary for killing tanks. You're the best tank killer in the game. Maybe. You're one of the best tank killers in the game, especially before we start talking sovereigns. You have flaws though. 3 mobility is a big flaw. But you're very, very strong. Yeah, Puppetmon is an interesting Digimon. Outside of War Greymon, it's the only Digimon. Well, outside of War Greymon and Zukaimon, it's the only Digimon that gets fire bonus damage. which is great because that makes it a natural predator for all of the data plants like your Rosemons, your Ceresmons. It's able to take those out for you. On top of that, it also gets ground bonus damage, 25% on both ground and fire. So it's a natural predator to the Plesiomons and the Metasiedramons of the world. So it's very, very strong in some ways. However, unfortunately, it is weak to water, so just keep that in mind. But it's got a few flaws that it needs to work on. It does need acceleration charge to get around in a timely manner, so it doesn't take too much extra damage from the things it's trying to hunt. And it is fragile. And it is an attack type instead of a special type. So a lot of its damage you'll need to shore up with clobber carrots. So yeah, you'll need to do a lot of things to make it work, but once it's online and working, it'll do its job. And its job is a very important job. Like, its job is incredibly important. Being able to kill Metasiedramon and Plesiomon in a timely manner is a very important thing to be able to do in Mugen Recollection. And that's really why it's at the top of B class and not clearly flawed, because you need it. You absolutely need it, and it's better than trying to use this guy. Yeah, you don't want to be using Spider-Man. You want to be using this fella right here. Oh, Gallantmon. Okay. So there's multiple ways to use Gallantmon. There's two ways to use Gallantmon. You can use it as I want to be immune to everything light Digimon, or you can use it as I just want to be a good attacker as a virus type of Digimon. Shield Adjust does erase enemy buffs as well. That is something to think about. It does have the same kind of problem as Rosemon, where it can only attack in a straight line, so its form mobility doesn't feel like form mobility. However, its regular attack is ranged, so it often gets the it often gets a team up attack. On top of that, it gets +1 in special attack, physical attack, and speed, just innately for every battle. That's really good too. I don't think it's so based on that, I don't think it's clearly flawed. I think it's better than Marine Angemon-ish. Yeah. Just in terms of stats, it kind of overwhelms a lot of things on this list. I don't think it's better than Seraphimon though. But in Seraphimon kind of have different jobs. That's the other thing you have to be mindful of. It is like the #1 Talmon killer. And being able to kill Talmon is something you need to do in every single route of the game. And Talmon is actually pretty freaking strong. And there's a Mugen Recollection with 2 Talmons. And they're also really freaking strong. It's going to go here or here. Is it just behind Edamon, or is it just behind Seraphimon? Could run Seraphimon with Celestial Blade if you're coming out of Raffle. Yeah, I think it goes behind. It goes behind Seraphimon. Yeah, because Seraphimon has a higher ceiling. Although technically, Galamon could negate that ceiling because of its ability to become immune to all light attacks. But that's neither here nor there. Ceresmon, our mobile attack platform. Um, yeah, it's gonna be up. It's gonna be up there. Hold up. I gotta move the screen. Ceresmon is really, really good. It gets plus 25% damage on everything. It's kind of beefy. It's not super beefy because it also takes plus 25% damage from everything, but it also has the highest HP stat of every Digimon that's not a sovereign, so it doesn't really matter that bad. And you can fix it with the DPC. Where exactly does it go? I think it just goes here. So its ceiling is really, really freaking high though. If you used, and this is what I did, I used Giga Crusher with a stellar, what's the one that does damage? Dang, I already forgot item names now. It's not Aegis or Alacrity. Stellar Potency Crystal, yeah. I did that. Giga Crusher with Stellar Potency Crystal, and I was smacking things left and right. It was stupidly strong as a combo. It was like my guaranteed, if something is giving me trouble, go with this combo. And actually, I think that combo was so good, it just goes above a lot of things. Like, it definitely goes above Dino Rexmon with that combo. Let's go above Plutomon with that combo. It can confuse. But I think Plutomon's ceiling is so much higher that I don't really want to do that. Yeah, I think it goes there. That's fine. That's fine. All right, Sakyamon Regular. Sakyamon Regular has the ability to kind of be the avatar because it's like super effective against everything. As long as you're using super effective damage, you get plus 25% damage. I think it gets an extra stage in special attack to begin with. And Amethyst Mandala increases its defenses by 2 stages. It's also really good. And if we're talking about the Miyuki version, which we are at this point, it has the ability to increase its special attack by 50%. That's definitely going to put it above you. Who's it more? Are we going to put you here? I don't think it gets over the wall of Plutomon, because Plutomon is like the point where if I can't win this fight, I'm using jank strategies to try to win this fight. Like Karubimon is another one where I might not be able to win this fight outright, but I'm using jank strategies to win this fight. Definitely Bancho Stingmon. War Greymon with Takuma is just really, really good. And not really, really good in the it's strong sense. It's like really, really good in the even if I can't win this fight, I can brute force my way through sense. We talk about Metalcedramon, you throw a chromatic crystal on it and it's just unstoppable. And then Sakyamon Miko mode, I didn't talk about why she's so strong. I just put her in the almost OP category at the top of it and just moved forward. So, what makes Miko mode so much stronger than regular mode is her her buff reaching everybody else, and that just makes her so useful for Mugen Recollection and for boss fights in general, because enemies tend to deal a ton of damage to you at endgame or Mugen Recollection, but if you're able to just negate that by rate buffing your defenses 25% and then again following up by 50%, yeah, your ability to win increases dramatically. That's why she's in the almost OP category at the top. And the only Digimon I put above her are basically Sovereigns, and I guess Veradurumon when it's able to use, just because it's a carrier for Minorumon's talk ability, but not on its own merits at all. But with regular Sakimon, it doesn't buff other Digimon, it only buffs itself. But it's still a really good buff to have. It's just, when are you actually going to need it? So now you have to think about it as just Sakimon's just a really strong Digimon with a lot of modifiers that go in its favor. Theoretically, it can deal more damage than any other Digimon when it crits, especially with Miyuki giving it that plus 50% damage. But that just makes it a better version of this guy, right? Yeah, I think it's exactly where it needs to be. It's exactly where it needs to be. Yeah, Sakimon regular mode, it goes right there. Alright. Last one, Omegamon. So Omnimon, I've definitely used it. To clean things up. It's definitely a cut above almost everybody else. When you have Celestial Blade on it, which you kind of need to play two different routes to get Omegamon up to full power, but when you have Celestial Blade on Omegamon, he's basically a street sweeper. You put Celestial Blade on him, you put Minoru's Talk Effect on him, you put Takuma's Talk Effect on him, and he just goes to work. He just starts destroying things. Is he stronger than Azulon? Without all those buffs, no. Yeah, I think he's good right there. He's good right there. Alright. And I think that's all the Digimon. We could talk about talk effects. Really, it's just going to end up being, yeah, Takuma right here. Always is really good. Right here. Shuji's. I almost never actually end up using Shuji. Not for his talk effect, but it can be good. It's like right here. Thing is, Shuji's one of those weirdos where his talk effect isn't as good as his actual Digimon. Actually, Ryu's in that category as well. His talk effect's not as good as his Digimon. His Digimon's really strong and his talk effect is kind of like, Saki has a really good talk effect. You can put her at the bottom of that class. Or you can put her right next to her Digimon, actually, since she's already here. Miyu, I don't like physical defense. I don't like it as a talk effect. I won't say dookie, but you'll almost never use it. Same thing with this. Like, there aren't that many chances that you can even use his talk effect, especially on Melgorumon himself, because if he's sleeping or paralyzed or something, then you can't talk. So you just end up passing the turn anyway. But if it happens to another Digimon, then yeah, you can talk. And yeah, I think that's about it for this list. There's nothing else to even go over. Are there any ultimates worth adding to the list? The problem with ultimates is if you don't get them to at least 300 speed, and realistically for later movement recollection it's like 450. If you don't get them to at least that amount of speed, then you might as well not even talk about perfects. Like the perfects aren't able to fight, except for Edamon, because he doesn't really need to fight. He just needs to, Edamon just needs to be able to take a hit, and he can do that fine without any speed. Yeah, a lot of these guys would be good if they weren't so slow and fragile. Slow and fragile is what kills them. Like Manzaimon, Overflowing Love is a really cool effect. And it could be, he's probably the best healer in the game, but he's fragile, he's slow, he can't land a hit. So now you're just using a slot ball for healing. Whereas you can use Magnadramon, and she can heal pretty well. She gets 2 stages, so plus 25 efficiency on it. Or you can use Ceresmon Medium, who also gets SP restoration when she heals. So it's just like, yeah, you don't really need to use perfects. Yeah, that'll be it for this. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I've been me. You've been awesome. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.